after me taking a super long break again, and for good reason. Not so much good reason. Well, I guess you could say for good reason, but there's also some realistic reason behind it, and I want to bring that to the light, bring it to y'all, and like I always say, connect to y'all in a way that I feel may help somebody someday, and just continue to stay on track with it. So I doubt it'll be as serious, but I'll try to keep it as lighthearted as I can and not so just kind of. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and grab your watermelon, your water, maybe some peanut butter crackers, some Chip Ahoy cookies. I don't know what you like. And let's get it popping, let's get it cracking, let's get it going. All right, so where do I even begin? Guess we can start with earlier in the month, or not even earlier in the month, but more so like a couple weeks ago. Just been going through some different things with, I guess you can say, friendships and people and opinions and this and that and so much that I can't even remember, to be honest, because it's been a rough couple of weeks. But without going into detail, there was a lot going on behind the scenes with me that was clearly in the back of my mind. And I've always tried to allow things to take its course and just go the way that they need to go. However, I think because of that, I was still thinking about it and it was still stuck on the back of my mind. But I told myself I can't focus on that because I need to focus on what's going on in front of me. So I continue to go through life, not dealing with those things, not paying them any attention, not coming up with a solution for them to just kind of put a pin in that. And it's been getting to me, it's been hurting me on the inside, and I would say, what's today, the 26th? I would say yesterday, I'm sorry, not yesterday, maybe the day before that. So if it's the 26th now, 24th, and this is me being vulnerable, I had a breakdown and I was just constantly crying, and it was good. I think it was good because I don't often cry as much as I used to anymore. And I think that's kind of a bad thing because in a way that's suppressing your feelings and keeping everything that I'm feeling bottled up. Even though I am going to therapy, I think that I lied to myself trying to prove a point, and it just backfired on me a little bit. So when that happened, when that day happened where I just broke down and cried and just, felt everything, because for a couple weeks I had just been feeling a lot of anxiousness. I've been feeling a lot of, confusion, sadness, so on and so forth. Even right now, it's getting overwhelming to explain this to you guys. And that's ultimately what it was just, I was just very overwhelmed. And that was my fault because I didn't deal with it properly the way that I was supposed to. So because I didn't deal with it properly, it eventually got to a point where I got to my breaking point and I cracked. And I would say from that point on, from before when everything happened to having it bottled up, to me having that breakdown, and then now, I just realized I can't do that to myself because, for one, it's raising my blood pressure to a point where it doesn't need to be, and two, could have made myself really sicker than I would have anticipated. And so just kind of thinking about everything and being overwhelmed and how sad I was and everything in between, it just kind of gave me an open eye on life. And it put things into a perspective. It was a lot of signs that I was missing. It was a lot of things that I needed to understand, whether that be from myself or just God speaking to me through other people and things. And I had a conversation with my mom, who is one person I know I can go to about anything most of the time. Even if I don't go to her, like I have a good support system that I can call, but she's the main person I call whenever I'm feeling any type of way. So when I had the conversation with her, she gave me a lot of insight and a lot of information and a lot of clarity on exactly what it is that I'm feeling and how I need to handle it. And the podcast was one of them. Not only the podcast, but the podcast, therapy, and writing in my journal. And I had stopped doing the podcast and I had stopped doing the writing in the journal because there was a point in time where I did feel at peace and I didn't have much to talk about. And I think I let that get to my head to the point where I lost sight of reality. And once I lost sight of reality, I just kind of closed myself off. I wasn't going out. I wasn't talking to people, wasn't hanging out with people. And I think a lot of that was because I'm just kind of in my life at this point in time, just kind of scared to talk to people. Now, granted, I do go to therapy and I do talk to my therapist. However, it's hard to talk to people outside of that because I don't feel like I can trust anybody. And I feel like that's fair. I feel like you shouldn't put your trust in everything and everybody, but there should be at least somebody you can go to when you're feeling some type of way. And I know I preach about this all the time, and it's something that I'm struggling with myself still. So I'm not perfect. I'm not going to act like I am perfect. But I know from my situations, I would rather put it out there in the world for other people to know about it and speak on it so that way they don't make the same mistakes I made. And we're all human. We're all going to make these mistakes. We're all going to handle things the way we see fit. But ultimately, having it out in the air to a safe space is what's better for us versus thinking that we need to hold on to it. And again, sitting in front of this camera and actually doing this is really still making me feel overwhelmed. But I feel like it's only right that I do it because this is the reason why I created this podcast, was for it to be a safe space, not only for me, but for everybody else that, is feeling the same way that I feel. Even with all that going on, I had an opportunity to go to church on Sunday, and it was very interesting. It was very not emotional, but it was very just needed because my pastor also deals with things like anxiety and, self-talk and all those different things that go with the mental aspect of life. And he kind of, I wish I could remember the verse, but the way he explained the message was, why worry and why be so anxious when you know that God is there to protect us from that kind of stuff, to have he knows our future at the end of the day. And everything that we worry about, everything that we put on ourselves, all the burdens and everything like that, he came here on earth to take all that on. And the fact that we're doing it to ourselves and thinking that we don't have help kind of puts us not puts us in a mindset, but comes off as, well, we don't need God. We can handle it on ourselves. We'll be all right. But in reality, it's like He's the one that's going to take that burden and be there when we're weak. He's our strength at the end of the day. So why is it that we depend more so on ourselves and our own understanding versus allowing him to take control and putting it in his hands and giving us the direction, giving us the vision to see what he's trying to do for us. And we're not going to get it right away. Obviously not. But it's going to come to a time where we do get that prayer answered and we do get that understanding that he's been trying to show us since we decided that we wanted to do it on our own. And that was something that spoke to me the most, because I know a lot of times I'm too afraid to talk to anybody. I'm too afraid to express myself. I'm too afraid to just be an open book. And a lot of that comes from judgment from outside sources. It also comes from people telling me how I should live my life. It also comes from just the idea that I'm supposed to be a certain way, or people want me to live a certain way. And that gets nerve-wracking because I try not to believe it, but in my head I'm like, well, what if that's true? What if that's right? And in reality, it's not right. What's right is who I am as a human being. And I feel as though if I can't be myself around others that have their own lifestyle, their own way of living, then I'm not being true to myself, and I'm not being honest with myself. It's kind of going back to all the stuff that happened from when everything happened to affect me to now and then on. It gives me an opportunity to do better. It gives me an opportunity to just be the same old authentic Mac I've been since day one, since I started streaming, since I started doing the podcast, since I started, just breaking out of my shell. I don't have to fit the mold of what everybody else is fitting, or I don't have to fit the mold of what people are telling me to do or how to live. I have to stick to my roots. I have to stick to my own person, because that's who I am. That's who I was created to be. That's who God molded me to be. And he's still molding me to this day. Like I said, it's just been a big lesson for me to learn. It's been a wonderful eye-opener, a wonderful opportunity for a rebrand, not even a brand, but just to get back focused on what I love to do, what I feel is important. And again, I've also mentioned this multiple times, like when it comes to this podcast stuff, when it comes to Twitch, when it comes to streaming and everything under the sun, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many people I have in my chat. It doesn't matter how many people subscribe to me. It doesn't matter the number of people that watch. I know I'm doing it for the love of me and the creativity that I bring to the table when I do this stuff. Not because I want to have a bunch of money, not because I want to be rich and famous, not because I want to get these brand deals. Granted, God willing, I would love for that. I would love for that stuff to happen, because, who wouldn't? That would be inhumane if I didn't want that kind of stuff. But if I do want that and I do see myself getting that, I want it to come in an authentic way, not just, I want it to be earned, not given. I want to earn every piece of success that I strive for when it comes to this space that I'm in. So I think finally being able to get back on here and get back focused on why I even started doing the podcast really put my mind at ease. I know why I'm doing it. I enjoy it. I love talking and giving my perspective to other people who may not understand what it is that they're feeling. And, if I can explain it in a way that helps them, then they can take what I said and use it for themselves. And not only take what I said, but if they don't use it for themselves, come up with methods that help them do it for themselves. And one thing I'm always tell people is do what makes you happy. Don't worry about what everybody else is thinking. Don't worry about what people are gonna say. If you love to do stuff that others don't understand, then so be it. You keep doing that kind of stuff because at the end of the day, it makes you happy. It brings you joy. It keeps your heart fluttering when you come to the point where you're doing it again. As much as I'm saying that, I need to take my own advice and continue to do that for myself because no matter what it is, I'ma always love me. I'ma always put myself first. I'm gonna always just remember the fact that I got into this stuff for me ultimately. That's the whole reason why I even got into this stuff, and the fact that I was blessed with the creative mind and the eye view that I have and the just perspective I see on things. That's the whole reason why I even do this stuff. And if I can continue this at a high level and be I'm getting stuck on my words, but if I can just be authentic and inspire somebody else, then that's a win for me. Even with that, if I can bring people closer to God and remember who's in control at the end of the day, that's an even bigger win because I know I'm bringing them to His glory, and one day they'll be in His house in heaven, knowing that, hey, they took the correct route and they listened to what He had to say and listened to Him through me and other sources that affect their lives in a much more positive way. So I end all that to say that no matter what, don't ever allow the outside sources, the outside noise, the mental thoughts, the devil, anything negative that be going on, just don't even listen to it. Listen to your heart and listen to the man who's telling you and speaking to you and giving you the signs that you need to see in order to remember why it is that you're doing what you're doing, and make sure that it's for a positive reason, not because you feel like it's going to give people what they want or it's going to make other people happy. Do it because it's going to make you happy. And once it makes you happy, then you know that you're in the right space. But with all that mushy stuff out of the way, let's get into our wonderful, beautiful studio sesh. So recently, I have just been listening to music entirely. Not even just one genre, but all genres. And it's been cool. I love music. That's one thing about me I can say. I will listen to music and love music to the day I die. There's never been anything other than music, maybe besides, I don't know, video games that kind of grasp my attention. But music is just like something about music just makes things so much fun. And I don't like certain music because of my own personal reasons, and I don't want to get into that because, like I said, everybody has their own reason for everything. But just to kind of get off that specific point, I would say that some music or some artists that I've been listening to or listened to recently was for sure Wale. He just dropped the album a couple days ago, and let me just be transparent here. I have nothing against Wale. I do not hate Wale. I think Wale's music is wonderful. However, this album, just skimming through it and listening to it when I did, it was actually really different. It was a lot different from what we're used to and what I'm used to hearing. He was more, I think he was more in tune to the sensitive side of things versus, rapping like he usually does. And he's a good rapper. He's a great artist. But this side spoke more to the realistic side of just people in general. I think he really hit the nail on the head on certain subjects, and just saying the things that he was saying was like, whoo, like, dang, you coming like that. So it just kind of like, listening to it just really shocked me. And honestly, I can honestly say that album was a solid. I'll give it like an 8 out of 10. I wouldn't say 9, but I would definitely say 8.5 out of 10. It just came out, so I'd have to go back and listen to it again anyways. But solid 8 out of 10. So I'm not mad at it at all. Obviously, I have my favorite artist, Chris Brown. And then who else dropped some music? Well, I know YoungBoy had his tour, so he definitely did drop some music, which I'm not into that type of stuff because I don't relate to it, and that's just me. But he does have some good songs in there too, and yeah, that's all I can remember, to be honest. Y'all put down in the comments below who's y'all's favorite artist, what's y'all's favorite genre, just so I can see what y'all like to hear. Maybe I can look into some stuff. But yeah, man, ultimately the music I listen to has been great. Like I said, there's some artists that I didn't know that existed, and they do drop some music that's pretty good. And I'm a big R&B head. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that about me. That's just what it is, and I'm not gonna change. Sorry, but yeah, that's what's going on in the music world for me. Last, but certainly not least, we get into our movies and friends. Now, we got a couple movies coming out. You got Zootopia 2. You got Avatar, which is supposed to drop pretty soon. You got Stranger Things, which is not even a movie, it's a show. You also got I don't know what else is coming out. Anywho, anyways, there's a lot of good movies coming out. I know for sure I want to see Zootopia 2, and I'm definitely getting excited more for Avengers and just the way that they're about to put this together in this next phase. I had recently watched the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man cartoon on Disney Plus. Y'all be careful with that Disney Plus, man. They upping the price like crazy, and it's getting weird. They're putting all these bundles together, and it's annoying. They should have just kept every app separate so the price wouldn't jump. But I guess it kind of makes sense because all the apps that I use on that specific app are on there. Hulu, ESPN, what else is on there? I can't remember off the top of my head, but they're on there. And yeah, that was the recent one of the recent shows that I watched. I even watched What If Zombies. Really good. And I want to say I talked about that last time. If I didn't, then I'm talking about it now. Yeah, it was really, really good. I liked it. Different perspective on different characters, different storyline as well. So it was just cool to see it in a different light and to be able to enjoy it, not only as a fan, but, from a creative mindset. I just thought it was super, super cool. So A+ on those. I think they're doing a fantastic job with Disney and Marvel being one and the same. Oh, even Toy Story is coming out, which that's not Disney, but that's another movie that's coming out. And then I also think they're doing Incredibles. Yeah, man, it's so many and too many to remember and keep track of. That's why I'm just kind of like, dang, like I'm just excited in general because to just watch a good movie and appreciate it for what it is, it's just cool to me. It's just cool to me. Like people don't just sit and watch stuff and appreciate it. They want this, they want that. I'm looking for this. Well, then go watch that specific stuff. Don't be over here looking for something that you want out of this movie and it ain't gonna happen. And then you get mad. You should have stayed your butt at home. That's not our fault. That's not their fault. It's your fault. So you figure it out. But yeah. I'm sorry, I got a little carried away. But yeah, that's just a little bit of what, I got going on with that. And I'm super excited for everything that's happening. So everybody that's creating these movies and TV shows, keep going, y'all. Killing it. Also, Stranger Things is coming out, so y'all better watch it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch it because I don't have Netflix. But hopefully whoever has it, I can watch it and, things like that. So, yeah. But with that being said, that's all I got for y'all today. I'm pretty sure this episode isn't as long as usual. I think it was just more of an open heart type of thing and just laying it out there. And I feel like it's just a little bit more, just rolling versus like me having notes and looking down and being like, oh yeah, this is what I'm supposed to say. Which I do think I need the notes, but even still, I feel like it's better to keep it just realistic, not only for me but for everybody else that's watching. And I hope it continues to grow more and more as I post and more as you guys watch. And I know I say it all the time, but if y'all ever have anything y'all want to put in the comments, go ahead and throw that in there. I even have a Discord. Feel free to come in there and drop some ideas, whether it be for stream, whether it be for the gaming channel, or whether it be for here. I'm always open to that kind of stuff. I want to have a community where we can just all be ourselves and just have fun doing it. And even with what I said today, I just want to reiterate that, you're not alone. Whoever is watching this, you're not alone in whatever you're feeling. You're not alone in being upset and angry and wanting to know what your life's going to be like in the next 5 to 10 years. Are you good enough? This, that, and the third. All that stuff doesn't matter. All that matters is how you feel about yourself, your happiness, and trusting that God's going to keep you on the correct path that you're already on. And it may not be always sunshine and rainbows, but that's just how you know that you're blessed and highly favored. And God doesn't put any of his soldiers through anything that they can't handle. So always remember that and always keep that in mind. But with that being said, that's all I got. I'm gonna get out of here. I do have a new streaming schedule. I will put that I'll put that somewhere in here. Also the Discord and the gaming channel and all that other stuff. I'll put that in here too, so y'all can go ahead and follow me if you so please. And also join in my Discord and things like that. That way you guys can be a part of the community, get to know other people, build friendships, build connections, and just do the thing. You know what I'm saying? So don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, retweet, repost, and all that good stuff. And I will see y'all